This world doesn't know what is good or evil. We as humans define it. It is our choice to draw the lines that separates light from darkness. And the way we choose to see the world determines how our children will see it. I don't want to convince you of anything, I just want to share a story of saving a life. The conclusions you can draw for yourself. It all began one winter morning when I received yet another call for help. People were pleading for someone to save a stray cat with a torn neck. Not long before this, I had lost my friend Pooh, a cat I had once rescued with the exact same injury. It was just a coincidence, but I felt an overwhelming urge to go, despite my debts and the many animals already under my care. The location was outside the city, and I drove for a long time worrying that I might not make it in time or that the cat will be scared away. When I arrived, I searched everywhere but found nothing. Later that evening, other volunteers managed to rescue him and he was safe. But this is a story not about him. Disheartened that I had been too late, I decided to look around for other animals that might need help. I wandered through many country yards until I spotted an old ginger cat sitting on a concrete slab, sniffing around for food. She looked frail, with mucus dripping from her nose and eyes covered in pus. I cautiously approached her, but she didn't even try to run, something that rarely happens. I sat down a carrier, opened the door, and asked, "Well, what do you say? Will you come with me to your new home?" She looked at me if she was assessing me, meowed, and walked right into the carrier. She purred the entire way to the vet clinic. Whether it was from contentment or nervousness, I couldn't tell. But I can say this, she hasn't stopped purring to this day. She stayed at the clinic for about a week before I brought her home to meet my furry family. From the beginning, she made it clear that she was an experienced cat, and she instantly took charge of the entire pack. Those who was resisted quickly learned that resistance was futile. But despite her tough nature, she remained incredibly gentle and loving. A little later, people from the place where I had found her reached out to me. They told me that she had lived there for 12 years. A few people had tried to take her home, but each time she was thrown back out onto the street. They were overjoyed to hear that Persea, as I had named her, had finally found a real family. You may think that this is where the story ends, but it doesn't. A year later, during a routine checkup, the vets found that Persea had a liver carcinoma with metastasis in her spleen. I was devastated, not only because I had somehow missed it, but because it was untreatable, especially for a 13-year-old cat. I knew that she had only weeks, maybe days left to live. Against the doctor's recommendations, I chose to go forward with surgery, to remove part of her liver and spleen. I knew the risks she could die under anesthesia, but I believed that it was better to fight and have a chance than to sit and wait for death. The surgery was successful, and despite her age and condition, she recovered astonishingly fast. Unfortunately, chemotherapy was not an option. It would have killed her. So all I could do was hope. Even so, I knew that our chances were 1 in a billion. And then a true miracle happened. The remaining tumor stayed in one part of her liver, but there was no growth, no metastasis. 4 years have passed since then, and nothing has changed. To this day, neither I nor the doctors can explain how this is possible. My oncologist told me, In my 15 years of practice, this is the first case like this in Kiev that I ever heard of. Maybe Pugh guided me to her to save her, or maybe she is simply the strongest cat I ever known. In the end, it doesn't matter. What matters is that she is alive and happy, just as I am happy to have her by my side. Subscribe to my channel to know about animal volunteers' life and to hear more heart-wrenching rescue stories.